When the last bowl was poured and the final trumpet silenced, I stood among the ruins of what once was. No angels sang, no demons screamed, only silence, holy, heavy, infinite. The earth had ceased its trembling, the seas no longer roared, and heaven had shut its gates, leaving behind a hush so pure it pierced the soul. In that silence I realized this was not the end. It was the breath between death and resurrection. Everywhere I looked, smoke curled upward, not of fire, but of memory. The ground was coated in gray, as if time itself had turned to dust. I walked through what was once a garden, where the laughter of children once danced with the wind. Now only the whisper of their echoes remained. The air was thick with loss, not of life, but of meaning. And yet, beneath the ash, something shimmered, faintly alive. For the first time, heaven was silent. No judgment, no decree. Even the archangels bowed their heads as if in mourning for creation itself. Then I understood. Silence was not absence. It was reverence, a pause in the divine breath, as if God himself was watching what he had wrought and waiting to see who would still believe. They came from the shadows, the ones left unjudged, souls who had neither risen nor fallen, the ones who hesitated when the trumpet sounded, who doubted when faith demanded fire. They wandered through the wasteland like fractured mirrors, each reflecting a moment of the past they could not change. One of them turned to me, eyes hollow, and whispered, "Why are we still here?" I had no answer, only the echo of his voice fading into the dust. But then, amid the ashes, a flame stirred, blue and calm. Unlike any earthly fire, it burned without consuming, illuminating the ruins with a gentle hum. I approached it, trembling, and as I drew near, I heard a voice, not thunder, not command, but a whisper. "From what you call wrath, I create renewal." And suddenly I understood. The fire of destruction was not vengeance, it was purification. The blue flame led me to a pool of still water, the only remnant untouched by chaos. When I looked within, I saw not my face, but my soul, trembling, scarred, yet burning. Every sin, every fear, every lie was laid bare before me. But instead of condemnation, there was compassion. And I realized the true judgment was never in the wrath of God, but in the reflection of our own hearts. Then the silence broke, not with trumpets, but with whispers that became song. The ashes began to rise, swirling like sacred dust, and from them emerged faint forms of light. It was as if every soul that had fallen was being lifted by grace unseen, a quiet resurrection not of flesh but of faith. And for the first time since the wrath, I felt warmth. As night descended, the horizon began to glow. Tiny embers scattered across the plains, each one a fragment of divine memory, a spark of what once was holy. Slowly, they gathered, forming patterns, walls, towers, lights, not a city of man, but of spirit. The city of embers, a sanctuary born from ruin, a promise that even in judgment, creation would not die in vain. Then came the wind, gentle at first, then vast, sweeping across the earth. The ashes lifted like incense to heaven, a silent offering from the remnants of mankind. And I felt breath return to the world. Not the breath of life, but of purpose. Every gust carried whispers of forgiveness, and the land exhaled for the first time in 1,000 years. And then through the veil of silence came a voice, clear, calm, eternal. The storm has spoken. Now let the silence teach. It was the voice of creation itself, not condemning, but calling, not ending, but beginning anew. And I fell to my knees among the ashes, not in fear, but in awe. From the ground beneath me a crack formed, small, fragile, and from that fracture a sprout of green emerged, life, unbelievable, impossible life. I reached toward it, and for the first time felt warmth, not from wrath, but from mercy. The earth had been reborn, and so had I. And so, as silence fell upon the earth, I understood what revelation truly meant. Not the end of all things, but the unveiling of truth. Wrath was never the goal. It was the fire that revealed what must endure. And in that silence, I heard the heartbeat of eternity, slow, steady, divine.